Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.
Nasty Production.
7 Mile Radio.
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and we are back for another episode of Truth Podcast. It's your girl, Penelope. It's Wednesday. How y'all doing tonight?
I am excited.
What's up? Y'all dead. Mike, you in the building?
I'm in the building. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Special shout out to my, I don't know if everybody know, but I got a grandbaby. She'll be one tomorrow, so mama, papa, I love you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, baby.
Happy birthday. I'm glad you didn't take on none of your granddaddy's features.
That is crazy talk.
Y'all starting off fooling already.
That's crazy.
Listen.
All right, y'all. It's Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. What's up to all of our viewers? We appreciate y'all for tuning in every week as usual.
Yes.
Tonight, before we jump into our topic, let's do a little check-in. Bird, what's going on? I see you over there with this WW
Listen, it is the
whatever
greatest.
belt on your motherfucking shoulder, and I'm trying to figure out what the deal is.
Next to Easter and Christmas, this is my favorite holiday season. It is WrestleMania season.
Okay.
What you gonna do, brother? I got my Macho Man shirt on. Ooh, dig it.
Ooh, yeah. I think
Oh,
that's
they
where,
go in here,
my
right?
I think that's where Jeezy got his ad-libs from and shit. Macho
about
Man,
to do
Randy
that.
Savage said, ooh, yeah.
You rise
Yeah,
to the
that's where
cream
Jeezy
of the
got it from.
crop.
Oh my God.
Jesus. All right.
I am ready.
I'm a wrestling fan as well, but
Yes.
that was deep.
I am
Yeah.
a fanatic. I have been watching wrestling since '88, so I am a true fanatic.
All right, Mark, how you doing this week?
Oh, man, same old shit, different toilet, you know me. I'm excited because I got that court date for Junior, you know what I'm saying, coming up next month, so I'm ready to get that shit over with and bring my boy home.
That's
Make
right,
some
that's
sound
right.
effects
You
for
know
that.
what I'm saying?
Right,
Sound
get your
effects.
shit
Yes.
All right. Bring Junior home where he belongs.
Let's do it. So that's what I'm excited about this week.
Good.
All right, that's what's up.
What about you? How was your week, beautiful?
I'm good. My week is good. Y'all share the live. Max said share. Make sure we all share the live. My week was fine. Very productive as usual. Nothing special went on. Just resting for the most part. So nothing special for y'all. No updates. No updates tonight. So tonight, y'all, tonight's subject is Daddy's Little Girls. We are going to talk about Daddy's Girls and how imperative it is for the fathers to be present in their lives. This topic came from one of our viewers from last week discussion. They tapped in, and y'all know we get really deep when we get to talking, and one of the viewers suggested that we talk about this, and I thought it was a good idea. Like I said in my pregame, I hear a lot of guys say things like she got daddy issues, or she's having daddy problems, or I can tell your daddy wasn't around, and I really want to talk about where that comes from tonight. So we are going to get into it, but before we do that, I was doing some research as usual, and I was thinking, because I'm a daddy's girl. I'm the only girl. My dad has always been in my life, and you know, I love him to pieces. He's always been supportive. At one point, we weren't always close, but he has always been there, and he's always been present. And I was thinking, you know, as a girl growing up, the first man that you love is your father. It's not a sibling. It's not a cousin. You know, it's not a boyfriend. Typically, girls, the first man that a girl falls in love with is their father. And I want to talk about that. I know we have a lot of fathers at this table. Bird, you're a father. You're raising girls. Mike, you're also a father. You have a girl that you have raised, and you have a granddaughter as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get your input on that. How do you feel about that?
So, for me, raising a girl, just being there, being present, teaching her how, like you said, she's gonna see you, so she's gonna love you first, and you have to show her that same type of love back and how she should be loved by a man, but especially being her father.
Right. Before you get into that, I want to know, like, do you believe that the first man that a girl falls in love with is their dad?
Yes, I believe that 100%.
That's the question.
Mhm.
Do you think that, Bird?
I definitely agree. Actually, I took my daughter on a daddy daughter date. We actually, it was a birthday party. We went to Andiamo. She dressed up. I made sure that I opened the door for her. We even took a little walk right by the riverfront. So even though she was 4 at the time, I wanted her first impression to be like, okay, just because a guy comes up and say I'm pretty, I fall for anything because my daddy has already shown me that love. And then here goes, actually, me and my baby right here.
You gotta hold it closer.
Oh, that's you and your babe.
That was just us a couple of weeks ago. So right now she's still hugging on to me. So I'm glad of that.
So when I was thinking about it and I was doing a little research, I got to asking people. I always like to do a poll when we do shows like this. And, daughters feel safe and secure with their fathers. That's one of the reasons why daddies are the first person that a little girl falls in love with. They're the first man who gives them presents and make them feel warm and protected. A dad, a dad and his presence, his perceptions impact on her behavior all throughout her life. So when men sit up here and they say she has daddy issues, first we have to figure out, was the daddy even present in their lives? Because when we look at our dads, like I looked at my dad, and growing up, I felt like he made me feel safe. He made me feel protective. We never wanted for anything. We were never hungry. Bills and things were always paid. So growing up as an adult, that's what I looked for. That's what I thought a real man was. Oh, you got a job. You went to work every day. You taking care of your kids. You making sure there's food on the table. Bills are being paid. So I feel like when a dad is not in the home, what type of behavior do they have to mimic, to look forward to that's where I'm getting at. What you feel about that, Mark?
Yeah, they don't have no example of a good man, basically. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that any other man outside of the father couldn't be a good example. You know what I mean? But to have that immediate in the household from a man that cares for her like her father would is just very important. You know what I mean? For her to see that. And not only that, for her to see, the man loving on her mother correctly. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another thing. That's part of what teaches a woman how to be loved by a man correctly is how he sees his father love her mother.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
That's where
part
I
of
was.
it.
That's where I was gonna get at because listen, a lot of people get this twisted. Just because, people think because I'm a good father because I pay child support because I do the visits before because I take care of them financially. But being a father is way more important to that. We talking about the daddy talks, like you mentioned, Bird, the daughter and daddy dances. It doesn't take much. I'm talking about the things that money.
It's the character of the man that she needs to see and understand. It's not just the components of fulfilling the necessities of being the father of a child. So you know what I mean. It's not just the buying, like you said. It's not just the buying of the clothes or the child support money or the buying food or whatnot. It's the talks. It's the time that's spent. You know what I mean. And her understanding the man that you are and why you are the way that you are, why you do things the way you. And then it's important that you instill into her why she should do certain things as a woman. You know what I mean. But all men don't have what it takes to instruct. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but install the right things into a young lady. You know what I mean? So that's why they don't.
Absolutely. And we want to let's talk about the stats on girls with present and active fathers. So with girls who have their father around, they're better academic success. They are better emotionally and well-being. They have better self-esteem, better perception of relationships when it comes to that, better choices in life overall. When you talk about girls without fathers in their life, they have low self-esteem. They often blame themselves. They have low confidence in abilities, low value as humans. They suffer academically, personally, professionally, physically, and emotionally. So it's a lot of downfalls to the daddies not being around. Even like I said, even when you are coming around and you are, because money, I can't get off of this. Just because you buy a kid stuff and you're coming around for Christmas and birthdays. We really need to feel that present of a man. Like you said, Bird, if you show her what a man is supposed to be like, then she won't be impressed by, all the other things that men try to offer. For instance, if you tell your daughter she's beautiful and you love her and she can be whatever she wants to be, and you build up that confidence within her, when she hears it from the outside, it won't be phased. She already knows those type of things. But when I thought about it, it can also be on the flip side too. What if the daddy is around but he is displaying bad acts of behavior?
I'll give you a perfect example to that. I actually had to distance myself from my daughter when she was younger. I had messed up. So the mother of my child was being threatened by one of my exes, and I had to distance myself for 4 months because I had to make that decision, like, because I messed up and because I was lying to both of these women at the time, that it affected my relationship with my daughter. I wasn't able to go around because her mother feared, like, okay, if this woman has my number, what else does she know about me? And I had to distance myself for about 4 months. I would still send money, but I had to realize that it's not just about sending money. It's about you having to be there, you being that example. And I like what D-Mac said in the comments. Not just any daddy, though. If he's not healthy for the daughter, it's best that he's not in her life. And I had to do that. I had to retrain myself because I never knew my dad. I thought, okay, because I was there or I just did certain stuff. And I was still immature as a father. And we have to sometimes realize that for our daughters as well.
Yeah, I see D-Mac comment in the comments. D-Mac said depression, eating disorders, teen pregnancies, homelessness, a number of things that lead to this when it comes to these daughters growing up without their fathers. Dave, I know you. David, Mike.
Or those are the results, right? Of growing up, without the dad.
Mike, I know you did some research on teaching daughters self-worth, and as a dad, what do you got to say about that? And what did you find out?
I found out that you like we already, most of you guys already spoke on already. As fathers, we got to be the first ones to teach our daughters love, self-worth, how to be treated. It starts with treating them good, loving on them, saying I love you, saying you're beautiful. All of those things, taking them out, like David said, on a daddy-daughter date, or just spending that one-on-one time as a dad with your daughter. Also letting her see how you treat their mom. That's very important to me. I know it was when my daughter was little and me and her mother was still together. I definitely wanted to make sure she saw me treating her mother, nice, being nice, went out on family dates, Mondays and Fridays, and just how to be.
Yeah, because that can turn into a generational curse. Yeah. Because if I'm a daughter and all I seen was my mama getting beat up and abused by, my dad or whoever she was with, I'm gonna think that type of behavior is accepted. I'm gonna think it's supposed to be that way. You get what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of women get confused in love and abuse, because that's the type of love that they are used to. That's their interpretation of love.
That's why I put the emphasis on, the man being able to show the daughter, loving the mother and showing how to love a woman correctly.
Very important.
I'm speaking on the good men, right? We're not talking about the men who we know that just any man being in a child's life is not good. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a reason why the men are not. I mean, we case in point. I mean, there we delve into the couple of last stories that I reported on. You know what I'm saying? Where there's abuse going on in the family. You know what I mean? There was a girl last year that I reported on where her father was molesting her. Right? Family found out and stomped his top lip off. You know what I'm saying? That or just a guy today I'm seeing flying around Facebook, the Detroit P. Diddy, the Willow guy that was up there at the what's the club up there on the grass at Penelope? The game room. Something games.
Big Daddy Games?
Big Daddy Games.
Yeah, on Kelly.
Yes, on Kelly, right? So he used to run that to be a part of He was molesting his own daughter. You know what I mean? So we know that there's plenty of cases where these men don't need to be in the lives of their young daughters, you know or even their sons for that matter.
Because they get accustomed to the abuse and they think, that that's acceptable. And it's a lot of women, like we had a show on this before. And I know you feel deeply about this for the women out here who feel like they can raise their kids, not just a man, but they're, they just think like, oh, if the daddy is around in the son's life, then that's okay. No, daddies need to be present in their daughters' lives too, but daddies need to be supported with that too. So, with that being
But see,
said,
those women who don't see the importance, if they do have a good father of their child and like they want to be there and he is a good man, right? And she just has this bitter complex that's keeping them away. Like these are 9 times out of 10 the women who didn't have a father in their life and they don't understand the importance of a man.
yeah,
Right. So that's the reason why they feel like they can do without. The kids will be fine. Right. But she's suffering from traumas herself. Because she didn't have a dad and she don't understand. She don't respect me and herself.
that's the generational curses.
Yeah.
DMAX says healthy fathers help with their self confidence. For sure. I agree. Now I'm gonna say this. Like I said, my dad. I believe my dad was a great dad in my
John
eyes.
Bozeman says he has
9 girls.
I would lose my mind.
Girls.
9 girls. I would lose my mind.
I hope he's not a troll and that's a real
That's
comment.
daddy's little girls
Lord.
times 3.
In all their life, and it's my BMs. Who's the problem? What?
Oh, he said in all their life.
It's my
It's
baby.
the baby mamas
mamas.
that's the problem. That's what John Bolton
Okay. It's your baby mama. That's what I was saying.
plural.
That dads need to be supported, because the women play a big part. But what I was gonna say was my dad, for example, my dad was a good provider. He was very supportive, but he didn't really necessarily give me the talks about the birds and the bees. He didn't really sit me down and say, hey, guys are gonna say this. Boys are going to come hit you with this line, and I'm not going to say he was a bad father for not doing that. What I will say was that he didn't know. He could only teach me what he knew. This was his first time being a father. He was young, first time raising a girl. As we know, being a parent, like now, there is no pamphlet. There is no manual to being a parent. So I don't fault him on that, but I will say those talks would have been helpful and beneficial along the way.
And I'll just add this to it. I know, Birdman, you'll probably agree that you don't never stop raising your kids, one, and especially our daughters. I mean, I think me and my daughter are closer now that she's older than we ever were when she was, younger. I think we're way closer now, and I've matured so much to now I can actually have something, of importance and substance to tell her and teach her. At this point in our relationship, and I love that part of our relationship. So dads, never stop raising your girls. Never stop being there. Never stop being that number one man in their life. Like never stop that till she gets married. I'm gonna be number one.
Yeah, because there
that
are
man
some
takes
guys
her-
out
yeah.
there that look for that one little crack in the armor. Like, okay, your dad didn't do this. Or your dad didn't show that. And I'm always on alert with that. Like with my daughters, it don't matter what time you can call. I'm going to pick up that phone for you.
Mark, put the phone line, open the phone, put the number up, and we're going to open up the phone lines because I really want to hear from John. John, if you listening, call in. I want to hear a little bit about your story. You got 14 kids. John has 14 kids.
9
Because
girls.
D-Mac, that's how many baby mamas.
And 9 of those kids are girls. So we do want to know how many baby mamas. And I do want to know, you said they don't understand? Mr. OMG picture speaks 1,000 words. Look me up in my kids. It's
I'm
my
about to
life.
look it up. Mr. I got gas money. Hold on one second.
Call on in, John, so we can hear about that, because that got to be rough. 9 girls, 6 baby mamas, 14 kids, 9 girls with 6 baby mamas. Whew. You got any hair on your head, John? Because that got to be stressful.
That is stressful.
Wow.
Okay, I'm on the
Mister, I
page
got
right
gas
now.
money.
So, yeah, that's a good question, Matt.
Screenshot and inbox me the picture, Birdman.
Okay, so
Bird and Mike, D-Mac asked a good question. Did y'all talk to y'all daughters about men?
Yes, I did.
yes. I had to ease into it because, like I said, Mariah,
What was the conversation?
And what age?
it was
And without
last
getting
year.
too deep, I guess.
It was last year. And I had to,
How old is your daughter, though?
so Mariah's about to be 13. So last year, so when she was 11, I had to have that talk. And I think Mark will agree with me on this, because of everything that's going on in the world today, I had to speed her up. It was like, do I want her to still be innocent or do I want her to be careful? Cause like Mark be talking about these stories about who was that girl you was doing, Zanaya or
Yeah, Naziah.
Naziah? I'm sorry, Naziah. And I want my daughter to be careful because there has been a situation before where she was almost in danger with who the mother of my child was dating. And it wasn't danger, he didn't do danger to her, but the way their relationship was, I didn't want her to see signs of
She was in a potential compromising situation.
exactly. And as a dad, I'm like, okay, this is what I want you to see. Even though, I'm not with your mom now, I still love and treat your mom with respect because that's your mom regardless. But I also want you to see how I have a healthy relationship as well with my wife and that we're married and that you want to have somebody that you're going to build with. So it was a lot we had to talk about. It's still stuff I have to go over today. So it's like,
But I'm saying, did you be like, I mean, I wouldn't understand that. Like, did you have to talk and be like, look, men are going to say this. It's going to be a little knucklehead that's going to come along, and he going to say X, Y, and Z,
yes.
and he going to tell you that you smell good, and that your hair look good, and that he like this, and he going to try to gift you this. Like,
Exactly.
are they allowed to accept gifts? Like, I need to know this coming from y'all.
But you
Because I got
gotta-
a girl, but I'm not a daddy.
Exactly.
So-
And you not only got to do like that. Here, go ahead with the call, and I'll finish.
What's going on, caller? Who's this? Where you calling from? Please
Because I
turn
got
that
a
computer
girl, but
down
I'm
in the
not a
back.
daddy.
Hey, this
Off the
John.
speaker.
This is John Bowles.
Wait, John. Turn off your Bluetooth for your
John is
speakerphone.
ready.
Ready.
Turn your Bluetooth or speakerphone off so we don't hear no echo. You there?
Everything should be off.
All right,
Yeah.
give it to me. What's happening?
All right. Yeah. I'm from Detroit. Been out of town in different cities, and I have six baby mamas. And it's crazy we say baby mamas because before I remember time in life we didn't even use that term. We didn't even use BNs. We kids mothers or whatever we used. And it's crazy that y'all say that they don't understand because I tell all my kids' mothers, y'all problem is y'all don't understand because y'all fathers was nothing like me. Nothing like me. I have a bond with my kids because I made that bond with my kids. I knew I was a street nigga. I never been to prison. So that right there made a point to me, well, I have to be there for my kids. I don't care how many kids I have in what state where I have 13 kids biologically, and all of them have the same initials. My initials is KJ's. All my kids have KJ's. Do you know how hard it is to have 6 different females to put it in their heads to say, well, I'm going to follow? They had a problem with that. I'm not going to do that because your first baby mama did it. What that got to do with anything? I just want all my kids to have the same initials. Do you know how it feels to have your father to tell you one day, I was at the mall at Northland, and I was born out of wedlock. And my father was with me and my brother, and he seen one of his wife's church members. And they looking at my brother, they looking at me, looking at my daddy. They say, well, hey, who is this guy? And he told them I was a friend of the family.
Wow.
That affected me so much to this day that I still don't talk to my father. But it made me a better father. Today, my daughter had a program. And to get the text from her mama saying, I appreciate you being there, that made your daughter feel good, that's better than any text from getting that I got from her through years saying, I bust your windows out, I put sugar in your Cadillac. So I'm just saying, these mothers, they have to understand that we love our kids unconditionally. But if their fathers didn't do their job right, it's hard for them to understand what we're doing or what we're going through.
I agree, and it's kind of like they rebellion against everything that you are trying to do and teach and put into them, and it's all for the greater good.
I would never tell my kids nothing wrong. I raised my kids. I raised other females' kids, and it's sad that they use the kids, and a lot of people, I have to clear this up. They have to stop calling dads deadbeats. They have to stop getting these people down there in these courts of law and these lots. They listen. A lot of people need to go back and look at history. Do they even know? Maybe they need to go watch the movie Caroline. I don't know, but they know that they forced the man not to be in a home in the first place. If your social worker came to your house and they seen a toaster or iron or a color TV, they'd kick you off of welfare.
I remember that movie. They was
See, they need to go back into history and see what really went on. There's not deadbeats. We're not deadbeats. We were raised that we couldn't even be in the households. So our fathers followed that. Then the other ones just made excuse of, I'm just going to leave. No, that's not. Listen, if I can manage households in different states, I don't even have to whoop my kids. You can put me on FaceTime and my kids is going to get straight. You can't have a gray area in your kids. A lot of people try to put gray area in between their kids and make spaces. You have to be 100 with your kids because they're the ones who know you just like you know yourself. They're your kids. They feel when you're sad. They know when you're happy. If you lie to your kids, you're going to have a lot of problems in life.
That is true. You always got to be truthful.
Yeah, they know.
Because they'll see it before you even tell them.
So go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you, John.
I tell a lot of people that they look and like I said, I wanted my grandfather always told me a picture speaks 1,000 words. And on his headstone at he's at Woodline Cemetery. On his headstone it said, I had my reasons. And I never understood what that meant until I got to this age. You know? And it's only because of you can't let people go by in life and try to dictate and raise your kids. You have to raise your own kids. You can have a opinion, but at the end of the day, you have to know your kids and raise your kids. So what I'm saying with that is a lot of my baby mamas then put me in jail, busted out my windows, and then right after they did the stuff, they call me with my kids. It's like, okay, you just put me in jail. I bond out $1,500, but then you call my phone with my kids like on the phone, like nothing happened. And I'm like, okay, I'm angry at you, but I can't take this out on my kid. So when I block the phone, it's like, oh, you don't want to talk to your kid. You see, so it's like
manipulative as fuck.
I don't know. Yes.
Well,
yes.
I do want to salute you, John, for being a dad. And it's sad that y'all got to get saluted, but I feel like y'all need to be just as recognized as y'all are when they want to bash y'all. It takes a lot to be a father, and for you to stand up and raise 14 kids and 9 of them be girls by 7 different baby mamas or 7 different women, I apologize for that. That says a lot about you and your character. We need more like you. We appreciate you, John. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for being a good father.
You guys have a nice day.
For sure. Thanks, John. Yeah, man, that's deep right there. I wanted to go back to D-Mac. She said one of my clients is on trial now for picking up a 13-year-old runaway from the BP. Hold on, we'll get back to that.
What's going on, caller? Who's this? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is D-Mac. Can you hear me?
What's going on,
Hey,
D-Man?
What up, D-Mac?
D-Mac?
I was just reading your comment.
Hey, y'all. Yeah, I was calling to follow up on my last comment where I have a client who's on trial right now for criminal sexual conduct of a minor. And he had picked up this girl from the BP gas station, took her around, rode around. You know, she did a couple deeds for him. They got in the back seat, did a deed. And then she wanted to stay with him. She had ran away from her dad's house. She was at her dad's house, so he's in her life. But she just ran away. I guess she didn't like the rules or whatever. But she couldn't stay with him. She asked to stay with him that night, and he said no, so he dropped her back off at the gas station. She eventually goes to the police department and, you know, tell them everything that happened. And because, you know, he's a 40-something-year-old man and she was 14, of course, she wasn't of the age to consent. But the bigger issue is her father is in her life. So let's talk about that. There can still be good fathers in the children's lives and they still go astray.
Okay, you said her father is in her life. How do we know that he is good though?
Did you say the father
Oh,
dropped her back off at
I've
the gas
listened.
station?
I've listened to
No,
the
the guy.
trial.
The guy.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah.
No, I listened to the trial. So her father wasn't abusive or anything. She just
Okay.
didn't like the rules,
Okay.
and
So
she
she was
wanted to
just a
be out in those
rebellious
streets.
teenager who just didn't want to listen and just okay. Well,
Right. So she ran away, put some pillows under her cover, jumped out the window, and went up to the BP gas station. And to Dave's point, well, I'm glad you said you would talk to your daughter when she was 11 because it's so much out there waiting on these little girls.
Man.
And to speak to that point, D Mac, there's a current news story right now that I can recall where there's a father who spoke on his two twin daughters who have ran away, right? And this is
Yeah, I
believed
saw
that
that.
like the second time or
yeah.
something that they ran away.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. He's
So
so in dis-
and
oh
he,
so
and
much
he,
Yeah, he's a
distress.
loving
Yeah.
father. He probably got some rules, and he's a single father of these twin girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, so what do you say about that? I really can't speak too much to that other than them just being, a teenager and being in the streets, because we can be. I don't consider myself to be a bad mother, but that doesn't mean that at one point Madison Amari won't go off and make decisions
Yeah.
that
And
that
I
that
mean,
aren't not good. That didn't mean I told that. I didn't mean I approved of that and I encouraged that behavior. So that
yeah.
is a good question. I just can't answer it because I'm not a father. But one thing I will say though, men play a really big factor in that because when a young girl falls in love with a boy, right? She is hypnotized by him and all of his spells and all of his doings. And it ain't nothing, not a daddy, a mama, a friend, a church, a pastor, nothing that can detach her from that. Because that's how they love. That's how a young girl would love. Now, when I say like I said about my dad was always around, never wanted for nothing. But like I said, I didn't get the "you beautiful" all the time. I didn't get that type of reassurance. It took a long time for
Mhm.
me to find that. Did I blame him for
Mhm.
that? No, once I became a parent because I felt like he did the best that he could with the hand that he was dealt. He couldn't do what he didn't
Mhm.
know to do. Now, would that have helped me with my confidence? Yes, because the first guy who told me that they loved me, that would not have phased me. Now, at 37 years old, my dad tells me that he loves me, but I make him tell me now. And it's not even so much for me needing to hear it. It's for him learning to say it. You're never too old to have a,
Mhm.
a teachable moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing my dad that it's okay for him to have emotion because he taught us to not have any. You can't cry, you can't feel, you can't do that, and that's not human. So when we talk
Yeah.
about the
So it's
fathers
one
being
thing to
around and being
be
in their
there.
lives, it's just like, okay, they're there and
Yeah.
y'all clean and y'all don't want for nothing and all of that. But what are the teachings that are going on there?
Yeah. There's an emotional connection, an emotional relationship that has to also be developed. It can't just be, well, I'm here, I'm providing. I mean, that was the men of old, and that's when the mother was in the home 24/7, giving that
That's true.
balance of love and
Mhm.
reassurance. Now both parents are out working, so they really need that balance of both parents reassuring them. I shared that story just to make the point that it's not just black and white. Like if the father's there, everything's going to be good. If the father isn't, everything's going to be horrible. At some point, it's a decision that the kids have to make. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
And in that case, the little girl, she went out there looking for what she got. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying she deserved it, but
But
she chose to leave the protection of her father's home and run to those streets and found that she was not protected. So, um, short of locking the windows and barricading them in the house, what can you do? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I'm out. I'm gonna let somebody else call in. Good show, guys.
Thanks, D
Very
All
Mac.
good.
right.
Thank you, D Mac.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mac.
And to piggyback off D Mac's point, you were asking earlier like about the positives. I mean about where you're reaffirming, so a guy won't say if they say something positive like you look beautiful, it'll affect them if you don't say it. But it goes the other way as well. So I never had Snapchat or TikTok until my daughter got it. So she was like, "Well, Daddy, follow me on TikTok." Da, 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 da. I'm like, "Okay," and I'm glad she did, cause it gives you alert when she posts, and unfortunately, one of the posts was she took a picture and said, "I don't know why I'm taking these pictures. I'm ugly as fuck." So I had to call my daughter. I said, "Mariah, did you post this or did somebody else post it?" She's like, "Yeah, I posted it." She was like, and I was like, "Well, why did you post that?" "Well, Daddy, I was on TikTok and I was doing a video and somebody called me ugly." And I said, "So do you believe you ugly?" She was like, "No." And I said, "Do you think I believe that you're ugly?" She said, "No." And I told her that there's people out there that are just going to be um, hateful and just do that because I have to reassure
Do
her.
you believe her
Do I believe her? What?
that she's being honest with you?
I
When
I
she says that she doesn't believe that she's ugly.
I believe she does believe that she's not ugly. She just felt like because people were saying it because I have to be careful with my daughter because years ago she went viral for a video where she was being chased by a little puppy. It went like super viral. Like Snoop had posted it on his page. Tyrese acted.
What?
This was something and it's on YouTube to this day. So she had got chased and she was a little baby. Like I'll show y'all the video later. It's on YouTube. But it was people in the comments calling her ugly, and she's like only 3 or 4. So she done had to deal with this before, and she knows that people are going to be hateful. It's just I still have to reassure her and have to check on her because one of the things we also got to think about if we're not there for our daughters, like D-Mac said, depression, suicide. I'm going to try to be there for her every step because I don't want to get that phone call. She tried to cut herself or she tried to do this or that.
Absolutely. I have a lot of good male friends who are good dads to their daughters, and I see them going to the dances, take them to the concerts, take them to the basketball games, just enjoying that time and really being in their daughter's life. And I just want to take a moment to big ups all of those men because that right there, that's what we need, and we want to see more of that. Like that's all the little girl want. I remember when my baby was younger, I used to preach to her dad all the time, and shout out to her dad. He's came a long way, I used to always say, like, it don't matter if you ain't got no money or nothing. Just come and get her and take her around the corner to Dairy Queen. It's 3 minutes away. It don't cost nothing. She don't know that you ain't got no money. All she know is that
My daddy
I'm
took me to first
going
grade.
with my daddy and I got this ice cream. And that same ice cream that I buy her every day is going to mean so much more coming from you just because you bought that shit. And that's just what it is. That little funky cone, knowing that it came from you and it was purchased with you, that means everything to them. And it's important to start doing it early because when they get to a teenager, it's hard for you to kind of like try to move into their life because they have already developed into the person that they're gonna be. So now you trying to come around and play a role and insert yourself in certain areas where it's gonna be real hard because you haven't been there. So I'm saying this to say it's the little things. It's the little things that are timeless. It's the little things that are priceless. Those are the things that matter.
You got to set that foundation, especially as fathers with daughters. You got
And
to set that
and
foundation
let me say this too.
when they little.
Back to what D-Mac was saying. What about the daddies that are in the life and they are doing everything right and stuff and things are going wrong? Let's just say don't stop there. It's put your shoes on and lace them up. It's a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing easy
Parenting not
worth
easy.
having out here. Like I said, it doesn't come with a manual.
Nope.
So continue to be that example. And then we also got to worry about the company that we have around our kids. Even when it comes to these uncles and these play aunts and things of that sort. You got to make sure that these people are displaying some type of positive and productive behavior because these kids are still sponges. They do what they see, not what they are told to do. It's never been that way.
So let me ask you this, Penelope, because you brought up a good point. You said the father of your child came a long way into your daughter's life. So
he's always been around, but for him to be doing the things that I wanted him to be doing in the shaping of my eyes, I just really wanted time.
And I do want to hear from if there's other fathers tuning in. This is my question right here. If you're raising a daughter, but your dad was never around, what got you to the point where you was able to raise your daughter? Like, the father of your child, was his father in his life, or?
Yep. My daughter's dad. Yep. His dad's always been around.
Yeah. I think for me it was
And he's never not been around. He just didn't really like most dads. My definition of being a good father is making sure they don't have for nothing, make sure they don't want for nothing, making sure I'm out here on these big special, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
occasionally, that type of thing. When I'm saying it requires more, especially when they get older. Now it's time to have these talks. And
Gotcha.
if I hear it from you, it's gonna take me. It's gonna mean more. Is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
When they hear it from the dad.
I got you. 'Cause I think for me it was I never knew my dad, and
It's the time, like John said. Is absolutely the time. And
Yeah.
and the support. And let me say this.
go ahead.
Earlier I said we need to be encouraging that behavior because he was not doing what he could have done, like going the extra mile, doing what I thought he could have been doing more of. I didn't shut that door. Okay? I didn't get mad, which most women do. I didn't say, well, fuck it, I can do it all by myself. I don't need you. I was angry about it, but I was never mad and bitter to the fact that I shut him out of her life. I just waited because you know why I waited? People grow at their own time. And it goes both ways. I probably was not always the mother that he wanted me to be to his daughter, but I have grew and I have evolved. I had patience. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I understand that we all don't get it at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And because I wanted her to always have a positive relationship with her dad, I supported that. You know what I'm saying? I never spoke down on him in front of her. I had my disagreements. I had my opinions. I had my thoughts behind closed doors. And I had those conversations with my support system. Not my friends, not on Facebook, not with people I barely knew, but within that village of people that were helping me raise my kids. And now he is way much better. And what I had to do was I had to check myself just as much as and willing as I was to acknowledge all the things that he wasn't doing. When he did get to that point where he became better, I had to give that nigga his flowers. An amazing job with stepping up in my eyes in our daughter's life, and I'll never take that away from you. I only want for y'all relationship to be better.
Yeah, he deserves a round of applause for that as well.
Like, for sure. He always gonna be my family. So when I say that to say we gotta be supportive. We can't just be he ain't this, he ain't doing that. A lot of times, a lot of shit that we be doing, we get in the way of them coming around and being the dad that they need to be.
Exactly.
It's hard to be black and to be a man, and then you being a father on top of that. Like John was saying, this shit goes all the way back. So, I could go on and on about it, but go ahead, Bert.
No, I'm actually looking. So I've been trying to bounce back and forth because I know we usually look at Facebook for the comments, but I've been looking at YouTube as well. And one lady said, facts. I feel like if my dad was still alive, my choice in men would be totally different. Even though he raised me right and was a good dad, I seen him show all of us women love. Soon as he left, my choices went downhill.
That's deep.
That is deep. So I think with me, I didn't know. Never knew my dad. So it was like I really didn't have my uncle was around. My grandpa had passed, but my grandpa had passed away like my senior year in high school. So during that time, I didn't know what it was to be a father. Like, I can tell you, I wasn't even trying to be a dad until my daughter was 2. So it was like the first 2 years I was a crappy ass father.
What I want to do is I want to ask our viewers, and I want to ask you guys, since y'all are men, what are some things that fathers and dads can do to keep the confidence up in our little girls, to make sure that they are being heard and observed? Because you have to be very observant too. You gotta watch your kids. They're not gonna tell you everything, so you gotta know when they moving different. You gotta know when they kind of standoffish and they not moving the same. You really gotta be on top of that. So you being a dad and being a girl dad at that, what advice do you have to the fathers out here? on how to become closer with their daughters and how to build stronger relationships.
Zone. You can come talk to me about anything. I want to be that first person. I mean, communication for you is always open. It's never cry. I'm gonna be right here and listen to you cry, and then whatever. I'm here. So you got to make sure that you keep that. I feel like at the same time we gotta keep those lines of communication. Just keep that line of communication open. We got to be there. We got to make them feel like they can always come to us.
I want to read what D-Max said. D-Max said, no matter how hard it is, be involved. Fight to be involved. It shouldn't be an option. Moms don't have an option. We don't have that option. That's absolutely true. Like, I forgot all about that. I don't know how I forgot about that because we really don't have we don't have an option. If y'all don't have it, we have to have it.
Yeah.
There are no days off. There are no sick days being a mom. And we get tired and we get overwhelmed and we don't know what the hell to do either. So y'all really gotta want it.
Yeah.
Cause I know nothing could keep me away from my kid. Like I said, I go through stuff with my kids. Times are very challenging, and I just lace my shoes up. I just tie my laces a little bit tighter today than I did yesterday. Because what else is there to do?
Exactly.
People say this all the time. All the time, people say, "I love my kids. I do anything for my kids.
Will you?
My kids mean everything to me." That is the first thing that a person says, but you don't do the work. It requires work. Things don't change. Things don't change overnight.
Yeah.
Patterns. It really requires you to do the work.
There are men out here, right, like myself, that want to relieve the mother completely of the stress.
Exactly.
Okay, but then that registers to some of the men, some of the mothers as you want to take the child away from me, right? But because they're using or they look at the child more so as a tool to get what they want out of the man. They don't want the man to have complete custody or leverage, or however you want to call it, over the child. But it's men that like this. Let's relieve you of the stress, all of that you're going through. The bills and the clothes and all of that shit and ripping and running and all of that shit, you want to go out and shake your ass, okay, fine.
Now, you know what?
Give me my fucking kid.
And you know what? That's true. That's some real shit, and I'm going to tell you why. I've been told that.
Okay.
And I was never one to just be out here completely running buck wild, but when I felt like whenever I was having a breakdown, when I was like, I can't do this, and I'm on the phone, and I'm calling, and I'm da-da-da, this, that, and the other, you know what he say? I'm on my way. Pack up his stuff.
Yeah.
I'm finna come get him. Now, I'm saying this. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this,
But then,
y'all.
now
listen.
They don't want that.
Listen.
They don't want that.
I used to get offended by that,
what I'm
y'all,
saying?
right? Listen, because I got your back on this one. I used to get offended by that. I used to be like, what? Now, what I look like giving you my son, giving you my child? I'm not doing that.
Oh,
I'm not
child.
Your child.
Yeah, I swear, these are my words. Listen to me. I'm not, cause in my head, I'm not hearing that. Listen, I hear
It's
you. You
our
overwhelmed.
child when it's convenient for you.
It's crazy. I'm about to come get him. So I had to condition myself to be like, you know what, P, this is help. He ain't doing nothing but doing his part. If he say you crying about this, you complaining about this, and it's not so much of crying, it's just that at times we are overwhelmed. I'm gonna come get him. I used to get offended by that, but as I grew up and I understood, because we never had no issues, he's not taking him away from me. He's just doing his part as a father and relieving that part. So he broke it down to me and he said this. He said, you know what? Those moments when you call me like that, I feel bad. Because I feel, have I not been on top of my shit, you wouldn't be going through these overwhelming breakdowns and mental something. So while you taking it as this is really going the opposite effect.
So I'm
of
damned
it.
if I do or damned if you pushing me away,
Yeah.
right? But then when I try to insert myself, you feel like it's I'm being disrespectful to you as a mother.
Exactly.
I'm trying to take the child away from you.
And the double back on
But I don't feel like you're trying to take the child away from me when you keep the child away from me. And only want me around for being an ATM. Only want me around as a tool to discipline him, right? When he get in trouble, I'm gonna call your daddy.
But you know what?
That's
That's
when
the
I'm a
point
factor
I
in
was
his
trying to
life.
make earlier. Like, for the women who complain about, the daddy not being around enough. Well, if you support that and if you open that door and you allow him to come around peacefully, and I'm not saying
not-
nagging him and causing
listen,
drama and
not-
creating havoc.
and
What
not
I'm saying
only,
is,
not only when it's convenient for you.
yeah. Create. Let these go get your nails done. Go get your hair done. Take that time, because when you say you want to come get my kids, gotta go. All I know is that I am kid free, and anybody who knows me personally, I have a lot of those times. Like, my support is, I'm blessed for that. I'm not one to always. I never understood, if he wants to be around, let him be around. So I gotta keep saying this, because I just know too many situations where too many dads are suffering because they're not allowed to be around their kid. So some of the mothers have to be supported when it comes to this. Absolutely. With that, I'm gonna read some of the comments. D-Max said, is this Jesse White, always keep an open line of communication no matter what the circumstances is. Absolutely. Rita said, daddy and daughter dates teach her how she should be treated. Absolutely. If you teach your baby daughter how she's supposed to be treated, then the standards are set so high when it comes to her being with a man, because you've already set them. Jesse, don't make promises that you can't keep. So, let's talk about that. That is so important, especially when it comes to the young ladies, to the young girls, because being heartbroken and stood up by your daddy, it's over for men from here on out. My daddy used to do this. I'm guessing that's where the daddy issue comment that I was talking about before ties in, because of the trauma that they have had in their childhood with not having a dad that is present. Being let down by a man is not a surprise. It comes natural. John said, it's hard to be a full-time mother. I take my hat off to the real ones. For sure.
Definitely do. The real ones.
Yes.
Yep.
The real ones.
For sure.
It's actually mothers.
And I tell everybody all the time, I'm a full-time mom. I'm not a single parent, though. I'm single, but I'm not a single parent. A lot of people are like, I'm a single woman. I'm a single woman. I'm a single woman. I'm not a single parent. My children have fathers. They are very active in their lives, okay? And they raise them. So a lot of women say that too. I'm single. I'm like, the daddy, you was just with his daddy the other day. How you single? A single parent. Jesse White says, what about the dads that have an open opportunity but don't live up to it? It's sad. It's quite disgusting, if you ask me. But you know what? Let me tell you about those dads.
And those are the men that didn't have fathers in their life and don't understand the importance.
Let me tell you about them, though, Jesse. What's going to happen is those children are going to grow older, and they are going to get to an age where they don't need anybody to tell them anything about their dad, because they already see it themselves. They don't need no stories. They don't have to believe anything. They see it firsthand, face value, what type of father that they have. And what's going to happen is it's going to hurt them in the long run, because at some point when the streets get old and everything is old and you grow old, you are going to want to have a relationship with your child. If you don't have one, you're going to want to develop one. And that's when they're going to get their karma, when they don't want to be around them. That's how I feel about them.
So D-Mac wants us to read her comment. I hope it's this comment. So it says, I had a client whose daughter told him she was gay. He berated her and Bible beat her. Then he called me to talk to her. But I talked to him instead. I told him he needed to go back and have that conversation and let her know he loved her. And therefore, no matter what if she got with the wrong woman? And he would have cut all lines of communication with her. She should be able to talk to her dad and be supported. He ended up giving her away at her wedding to that woman. Okay, that was a good ending then. Okay.
I didn't get it. What happened? Mac, you should call in.
She said she tried phone.
All right, we didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, try calling back, Mac.
Right, we're on for the final thought, because we got like 5
Yeah,
minutes left.
so we can wrap up. We're gonna get ready for the final thought. I didn't hear it ring. We just was like,
I didn't either.
Oh, he said you didn't answer. Well, so there
Well,
she
we
is.
about to answer now.
What's happening, D Mac? Yo, D Mac.
This is my radio.
No, it's not 7 Mile Radio. What's happening?
Communication. The communication is super. You answer the phone like, "Yo," you supposed to say, "Tell me who you are."
I
Where you
said, "What
calling
up,
from?"
D Mac?" I
Might
knew
not
you
have
was
been me.
calling. I ain't got to do you no introduction. You don't need no damn
She
introduction.
said
No,
this
it might
7
not have
Mile
been me, my
Radio.
boy. It might not have been me. But anyway, I was saying the
like I don't have caller
communication
ID. Let's roll.
is the communication is super important. Like it's one thing like to be there and to be present and to give like affirmations and things like that, but you also have to like I think men need to tap into their feminine side to really communicate with their daughters a little bit because had he not gone and corrected that communication, he could have like alienated his daughter. You know what I mean? So it's good to have those deep conversations to allow your child, your daughters to come to you with anything and just be a listening ear. You know what I'm saying? And not judgmental. That was my only point. Okay, go on with final thoughts later.
Before we go into final thoughts, I'm reading this one comment from Keisha Nicole. She says she actually wrote a book called Daddy's Little Girl. I wish you would have tuned in earlier and called in, Keisha, or we might have to
We
have
should
you
have
on
had
as
you
a
on the
guest.
show.
Might have to have a part 2.
Right.
We have a part 2, so Keisha, get in touch with us about that. We can have you on the show.
Yeah, that would have. She said, "I love my daddy. He is my world." That's what's up. Shout out to all the good daddies. So, I'm gonna get into the final thoughts. I'll start it off. My final thought is, like I said before, if you are a dad, and I'm gonna piggyback off of DMAC this time, do the work, get involved, and fight. I know it's hard, and I know it can be overwhelming. And even if time has gone on, and you feel like maybe that the relationship is not redeemable, it is, especially when it comes to your child. Effort, time, patience, determination, all of those things key factor when you are trying to have a successful and effective relationship with your child. Daddies are the first man that a girl loves, not a sibling, not the sister, not the brother, not the cousin. That's the first man that she sees. That's the first scent of a man that she's around. So your role as a father is super imperative. Get involved, stay involved in your daughter's life. Mike.
Yes, I agree. I believe in just keeping those lines of communications open, no matter how old she is. You are still her first love, unless she is married. You are dad. You are her dad. So just like they said, put the work in, build that foundation from the ground up with your daughters. And just be there for them, no matter what. Just be there.
Bird.
My final thought is I was reading this article called "The Father's Impact on Child Development," and it's adapted from the Modern Dad Dilemma. So I'm just going to go over real quick. For dads out there these are the tips for y'all. Speak positively to and about their mother. Create a vision for fatherhood engagement. So 20 years from now, what do you hope your child says about you as a father? What do you hope they don't say? 3, be a bridge between your own father and your children. Whether or not you look to your father or mother as a model for parenting, the legacy of our parents, for better or for worse, and for worse, lives inside of each of us. Establish a ritual dad time. One way to spend positive time with your child regularly is to create a ritual dad time. This means this is not meant to replace more frequent rituals like taking your kids to school or reading them bedtime. Get together as a father-child at least once a month to do something different. Know your child, and that's the most important thing. If they have social media, be the parent to where you don't find out about it until you read it on social media. Be known by your child. I think that's the most important thing as well. Letting your child know more about you through storytelling is a great way to strengthen your bond. So it's like Penelope and like Mike and Mark said, it's not a playbook to it. You just got to play it by ear. But as long as you're in the game and you're in your daughter's life, you got the better percentage of her being the best person she can be. And that's my final thought.
Until next week, we out, y'all.
We out.
We out.
Warning. You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.